Hello everyone. So one of the things that I usually do when I get up every morning is I go and look at my YouTube subscriptions and see what people have put up and look at their videos and make comments. And a lot of times when you watch other people's videos, it reminds you of things that you have or had, things that you forgot about. And Frosty901 put up a video about using a broken pick and how they're good as a padlock pick. Well, I've broken more than a few picks. Here's just some of the ones that I've broken. This one I didn't break. I loaned to a newbie because it was one of the strongest Bogotas. It's from the Sparrow's Reflection kit, and a newbie at work at my former job was interested in lock picking, and he had opened up a lock with this Reflection Bogota, and he thought that's all he needed to do to open up locks was just get a Bogota and a tension wrench. And I was trying to tell him it's more involved than that and won't work on everything, but he managed to break this Bogota. And I found out that back then that, of course, I wasn't going to throw it away because it still has this good design on the front, what's left of it. But all I needed to do, there was a little notch at the end of this pick right here. All I had to do is file that down a little bit, and it makes a good, like, short hook or medium hook. And like Frosty had mentioned in his video, the longer shafts of a normal pick adds, you're putting more leverage in there, so the smaller the thing gets, the shaft gets, the more tension you're going to get, the more flex you're going to get in the wrench. And for things like master locks, like this master lock right here, it's a puck lock, and I bought this a while back because I see a lot of these in the laundry room in my apartment complex. And of course, you don't want to pick locks that you don't own. So I just went out and bought the exact same model and got it. But it's only a 4-pin lock. And the thing about these using these broken picks are you can put a lot of torque on them and not get any flex out of the shaft, because it's basically, and you don't need, like a 4-pin lock. This would probably even work in a 5-pin lock, but on a 4-pin lock, you don't need a lot of length to go down there, to manipulate the pins. The keyways are the length of them are pretty short. Now this one's going to act up, but I realize I've opened this lock before, but I think most of the time I was Bogotaing it, because like I said, when I first started off, I single pin picked a master lock number 3, and that's the one that gave me that big thrill of, ooh, I opened up a lock. And that's when the bug hit me, basically. And after that, I discovered Bogotas and raking. And when I did that, to me, the whole purpose was open a lock. And of course, I was working at another job I call Ratco, and pretty soon they found out that I could open up locks, and I became the official, unofficial locksmith whenever they needed locks to be opened. Usually it was somebody's toolbox that had locked up a tool that was needed for a particular setup at night, or specialized tools like that, and supervision would have me, go over there and open a lock. So I had to get into them quickly because I was still expected to do my real job and meet production quotas and crap like that. And I was a lead and a setup. Man, this thing is putting up too good of a show. It's not that hard. This is just one of those camera shy type of things that is going on. My main thing was not to open up the stupid master lock, but to talk about the different picks that you can use, what you can use them for. And like I said, Frosty reminded me that hey, I've got these over here. So I sat off camera and I opened this thing easily several times in a row. A single pin picking it, not raking it, not zipping it, you know, just basically single pin picking it. And now that I'm on camera, it's going to do this I'm not going to open trick. And I'm using my thumb as tension on this thing, basically because it's the way to, an easier way to hold this lock. And these master locks usually like a lot of heavy tension on them, especially puck locks or disc locks. There's something about turning that whole shackle in there with the core that I don't know if it requires that much to tension. There we go. Finally got the stupid thing. I don't know if it requires that much to pick the lock to do that much tension, but you usually need quite a bit of tension to turn the lock. I mean, once you've opened it. Anyways, that's what you can do with these different ones. If you notice, I brought these other Bogotas out also to mention that here's a standard Bogota, and where they break most often is right after that, right underneath that first hump there. So this is a Mad Bob Bogota, and you can see that the shaft is a lot thinner. And this one I have bent. I don't know if you can see that at the very end right there, but that's where this sucker is going to break. And when it does, you're going to have if it breaks right there, you're going to have a very short hook. You would have to shallow this out a little bit more with the drill to get any depth. Otherwise, you'd just be running a straight flat, you know, pick in there with no lift at all. But this one's going to break eventually. And this, oh, wait a minute, let me get this one here. This is what I made after that guy broke that last one. I call it a beginner's Bogota. Basically, I tried to keep the dimensions a lot thicker and everything was shorter so that you could use this on something that doesn't require a lot of finesse. And when I Bogota, I tend to rock a lot. I'm not doing a lot of the in and out zipping. Or raking. I do that on some locks, but when you're levering, like I just broke this Warlock a while back on an American H10 wafer lock. I was sitting there playing around with it, and it's a big lock. If you get a big lock and you're going back up and down with the lock in your hand, and you got the pick held there, and you're kind of rocking around, it's very easy to overstress and break any pick, basically. You get enough leverage, if you look at the amount of metal, you've just got a very thin, I don't care how strong it is, you've got a very thin piece of metal, and you're putting like maybe a 1 pound lock on the end of it, and you're wiggling around, and you've got your own hands, so it's pretty easy to break picks if you don't watch what you're doing. And once you break them, you know, like this Warlock, it's got a pretty good design on it, you know, of a castle in the background, a guy's shadow, and his shadow actually casts like a skeleton into the sidewalk in front of you. So it's kind of cool, kind of dark and morbid, but that's alright. I don't mind that stuff. And this one can make kind of like a mini Bogota. I haven't really done anything with it since I broke it. But you can see there's still 2 or 3 humps. The problem you run into is to get this active, it broke so close to the end of the shaft. And this Warlock is of that flatter blade type of design handle. You would have to take some of the metal off back here to give you some more depth, I think, for it to work on much other than a padlock. But there you go. I haven't checked my mail today. I was hoping to get something in the mail, and it's still early for a Saturday for them to be up and at 'em and delivering mail. They do deliver on a Saturday. And let me show you the bitting on this stupid little key. It wasn't really as difficult as it shows here. Pin 1 is high, pin 2 is the lowest cut, and pin 3 and 4 or high cuts. So you basically have the first pin that's set high, and then you got to watch out to not overset that pin too, which I was probably doing a lot on that. But that's how I go about using my. Sorry, I still had to kill a couple of fleas here. My cat died over a month ago. There's one of them. See that little dead bastard? I can't believe they're getting enough blood off of me, because when I catch them, I kill them. But they're still hiding around. Ooh, he's a dead flea on a master lock. So there we go. That's all I'm doing today, and I'm sorry this thing took 10 minutes for me to just go over a quick video of that. I hope everyone is having a good time, and enjoy your weekend.